Okay, so I wanted to give you a horror story that hopefully all of you will learn from. A Savage horror story. This is an ugly reality that happened to me about 18 years ago, and it's impacted me ever since, this story, and hopefully it will impact you as well at my expense. So here we go. I'll make it quick and abbreviate. If you want to know more, I can give you more details. Okay, so 18 years ago, we just finished, Gene and I had finished working with Crew, with Athletes in Action, on daily on the college campus, sharing Jesus, the gospel, with college athletes. Okay, day in, day out, on campus. And then when we were moving from Lincoln to Omaha, in the very last month, the next door neighbor moved into the house next to us, and really didn't get a lot of time with this neighbor. So then fast forward about 3 months later, we're in Omaha, living in Omaha, meet this friend, became a friend of mine, who's a drummer at the church, local church we were going to. And I love drumming. And so we hit it off. I asked him, hey, let's go to breakfast together. I want to hear more of your story. So we go to breakfast, and he shares that he had just recently, a few years ago, moved down to Omaha from Detroit to work with drum lines, etc. And he came to Christ. God brought him from Detroit to Omaha to basically save him from himself and have a relationship with Jesus. So cool story. So, hey, let's do breakfast. So we go to do this breakfast. We walk in, hostess sits us down, table, waitress comes up, puts down silverware and water, etc. And my friend Keith says, hey, so how long you been working here, to the waitress? She says, oh, I was maybe 9 months or something like that. And he goes, what do you think of it? And she goes, it's just a job, and he could tell, we both could tell, that she was, it's hurried morning rush time with all the patrons, for breakfast. So she didn't have time. So she leaves the table, comes back a few minutes later and says, can I take your order? Keith says, hey, so what's kind of the plan for you in the future here? And she says, well, I need to keep working here because I have a little girl at home. And so I got to keep working here. And she was you could tell, just perplexed with life, frustrated with life, that she's having to work here, provide for her little daughter and herself, and just not enjoying life. But she's, sharing a little bit more about herself and her daughter with us there at the table, me and Keith. And so she's talking for a little bit of time, and all of a sudden she realizes she's at work. She had forgotten where she was and kind of just sharing more about her life. And she goes, oh, wait, I'll be back. I'll bring your food later. And so she leaves. Keith and I, again, my first time sitting down with this Keith guy. And so she comes back with her food, and he says, so what do you want to do? And she goes, I know it's not here. And she starts kind of sharing a little bit more about what her dreams are outside of this restaurant, and so she's lost in herself right now, and she's just really enjoying discussing with us. And so Keith says, hey, just sit down and have an orange juice with us, just take a load off your feet and let's continue talking. She goes, no, and he was joking. She goes, no, I'm sorry. And as she left, I said, Keith, that was amazing. Within 3 questions, you knew her. And he goes, yep, Steve, all it takes is 3 questions. And what that really told me at that time is, Steve, you really don't care about people. The last 8 years of your life, you've been sharing Christ every day, and you didn't even know your neighbor. You really don't care about people and want to know their story and where they're at. You just want to share the gospel and see them trust Jesus and moving on. And so that horror story is for you, and hopefully it speaks to you, maybe more so to others, but it's something I always reflect. God always brings back to me of, Steve, do you really care? I'll save people. You just care by my power. and I'll lead the conversation to myself, but you need to care.